Yeah. We got another one of the greats around town. Okay, before I start, I'd like to give a little background. Um, I just briefly, met Coach, but my background with him is playing against him. Playing against him, or I mean, coaching against him. Briefly. A few times you was coaching with Team Thrill. A couple of my teams y'all went pretty good. But it was a good matchup. I seen that your kids was skilled, right? So I always look down. Sometimes you look down the sideline. Like, damn, I wonder what he's doing. Then around, I've been saying around, you've been doing some great things. I seen, we used to see kind of like back in the day now.
Yeah.
Your daughter, right?
Yeah.
Your daughter, she was coming up, working, and then I look up, she D1, right? So if I can recall, what she's at Michigan State.
Yeah, so she's done. She's at Michigan State. She's playing pro ball now for a team in Greensboro. So she got picked up by Seattle Storm WNBA. They released her, but she's still playing pro ball and trying to get to where she want to be.
Okay.
But she had a great, 1,000+ score in college.
Right. Just like I said. Just like I said, I looked down the sideline, wonder what's going on, man. Like I said, doing some great things with his kids. Other, kids, son doing great things on his way off to D1. So I ain't gonna talk too much, Coach. But that's my introduction to Coach. With Coach, you give us a brief introduction about yourself, your program, what you're doing right now, and a little bit.
So I started coaching. Actually, I started coaching girls in high school. So I was like early 20s, coaching at Milford. So a lot of people don't know I won a girls JV county championship. Probably like I was like 20 something.
Okay.
So I went, we went undefeated in girls JV basketball. So it's kind of, before that I did like rec ball. My dad ran a league, did the rec ball, really found a love for coaching. And then started the JV ball. That's where I met Coach Johnson, who I know if you coached against me, he was there. Older guy, bald head, taller guy. So that's kind of where I met Coach Johnson, which really taught me a lot. Even though I'm like the head coach in the background. Even to this day, he did amazing things with Turk. But so then I always used to say when I was coaching the girls, it taught me a lot because, and some of my girls, if they see this, they might feel away, but they weren't always the most skilled. So I really had to coach them through press breaks and out of bounds plays. Like, it really sharpened me coaching. And then they eventually got skilled, but I always used to pray and say, man, if I ever get like some kids that can go, that can play, and that's when Team Thrill came about. And I originally wasn't the coach, and how it all came together was crazy, but Thrill was kind of my last coaching, and then until I got into, like, COVID took over, and then really focused on the kids, but yeah.
Okay. So, to fully introduce you, today we got Coach Lawrence in the house. All right, so thank you for being here today, Coach.
For
sure. Try to get this together for a minute.
Yeah.
But it be like that sometimes. The Lord's timing is the best timing.
For sure.
Just want to go into before we go into all the great coaching things. We want to go back in the day. We gotta go back in the Lowell Lawrence, man.
Okay.
So take us through that. What part of town you grew up at?
So grew up in Woodlawn. I was a good player, though. I had just made a post the other day and said I'll be trying to explain to my kids how I can handle the ball, but if I was them, I wouldn't believe you either now. But so I was a good player. Went to Woodlawn and played with some good players out of there. Damon Garris is a big name that they call him Debo. A lot of people know. Then I transferred to Southern and played with Melvin, Zeke, Lucky, Smitty, rest in peace. So, and I met a lot of guys and learned a lot from that. It didn't work out for me actually playing, but hindsight, it kind of taught me everything I needed to know. Not everything, but a lot I needed to know to kind of steer my kids in the direction they need to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Woodlawn, so what area, like, not what area, but
So, Emerson Heights off Ingleside.
okay.
Yeah.
So what were you planning on coming up, like before high school?
So played at Cecil. So I still played in town. Played at Cecil. Played with Mookie, and I don't think I played with him, but against I used to play in the outside league in Sandtown. I played at Cloverdale. So it was like, it's weird because I always played, in the thick of things, even though I was from out there. Probably one of the few. I ain't gonna say one of the few, but in my era, I mean, older guys, a lot of guys, went out those ways. But yeah, I played at Cecil with Shucks, Lil T, rest in peace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Lil T.
Yeah. So just a lot of guys I got to met. First time I met Baseline.
Okay.
From out there. So.
What about Coach Brandon?
Coach Brandon.
Coach Brandon Thomas. He around your age, right?
Brandon Thomas.
Coach, he's now the new coach for Marlboro.
Oh yeah. So, but I didn't know Brandon from actually playing.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of met Brandon.
You missed him at Cecil.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I wasn't one of the upper echelons. Like I remember the Reggie Bryants and those guys. So I played, but I was kind of like in and out. Like I said, I grew up in the county, so
okay.
and I may not have. It was a long time ago. Like, but when I actually met him and known him was from coaching.
Okay.
When he was coaching with Ty and Team Orange now.
Okay. And when you was at Cecil, Baseline was your coach?
No, you know who was my coach? I know Putney. Putney coached me.
Putney, okay, light skin Putney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember Regis. He used to really handle the ball.
Short Regis.
Uh-huh.
Before I talked to Coach, that's the only person I remember from
Cecil.
Yeah, he lived around my cousin way, so I used to go around there.
Yeah, he really stick out because during that time, I mean, the way he handled the ball was more phenomish. You know what I mean? Like, to me.
Okay.
And like I said, it was so long ago. I mean, of course, Reggie Bryant really sticks out. Calvin Dotson.
Okay.
Yeah, Calvin.
Okay.
So some of those guys.
Okay. So when you was at Woodlawn,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how long were you at Woodlawn?
So I was at Woodlawn for 2 years, went to Southern, and then my last year I didn't play.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So did you get to play middle school ball?
I did, but middle school ball ain't like it is now. So it was more rec basketball. It wasn't really like a middle school league. That's how it is right now. So, but like I said, my dad ran Old Court basketball, which was like probably the biggest county rec program. So you had like Enrico, Old Court basketball. So I played that until I went over and played at Cecil for a little bit, then high school.
Okay. And when you first started in high school, Walbrook, Woodlawn, how did that go?
It was good, man. I mean, like I said, those guys were old. I played with, Ishmael Robinson. He was really good.
Okay.
When I was playing. And I was really good. It's probably where I should have stayed because when I went to Southern, that's when I learned what politics was.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
And at that time, of course you don't know. But, hindsight looking at it, and I have great parents, but you know how we tell a story, like, unlike us, we make every game. And like my parents was working, they was there, they still married, but they didn't make every game. Or being, and I had to figure it out. Like, we had to kind of navigate that space on our own. So.
But getting back and forth to the game?
Not so much getting back and forth to the game, but like now per se with my kids, I don't really get in the mix as far as between the coaches, but I can steer and navigate and see what's going on. And look, that situation ain't good. This is good. This is the best fit. That kind of thing. Because I'm just there all the time. And I kind of wasn't like that. It was kind of like, you know, your parents trust what you're doing, trust the coaches, and then you figure it out. But hindsight, I look at it like I really wasn't from East Baltimore. And I feel like the politics kind of came into play, and I wasn't ready for it as a kid.
Right.
So when you ain't ready for the politics, it can either take the love away or break you down. And it's kind of like that's what I felt like happened to me. So it was kind of like, because when you feel like you better, you beat somebody out just off of playing. You should be starting. And this is as a kid. So as a kid, you know, just because you feel like that don't mean it's what it should be, but that's how I felt.
Okay.
And then when it don't play out like that, you kind of like, damn. But that happens all the time, no matter what.
So you said, we was talking a little bit, you said you graduated in 2000. So if I can remember,
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you was supposed to start on that team. I don't know. Let me think who they had.
So I'm going to tell you who was on my team.
Okay.
So
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm bullshitting really, but.
No. I mean, it's cool, but who ended up starting, so I was there, like I said, Melvin, I was a true one, though.
Okay.
Melvin was a true two.
Right.
So Melvin, Zeke, Lucky, Big Phil, Colin. So out of the whole group, there really was no one. Then my man Jimmy from East Baltimore, he transferred in from Lake. So Jimmy ended up starting. I felt like I should have, but like I said, I'm a kid too. But I feel like politics came into play too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over Jimmy?
Yeah.
So they had that spot. So did Jimmy play the one?
He did play the one.
Okay.
Yeah, he did play the one.
So you said Melvin was a two, which he probably played a two. Was Jimmy a one or a two?
No, he was a real one.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a good player. I mean, he was good. Like I said, this is a kid thinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because I thought it don't mean that's what it should have been.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, if you was you know kind of backing him up, you didn't get to play a lot. They was winning, right? So I mean, you should have.
No, we was a real good team. But again, I'm a kid. So and if somebody ain't telling you like that's not a bad situation,
right?
To like it's okay to be in that role.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm also coming from somewhere where I was always a starter, always. And like I said, those things helped me shape my own kid. Where it's like, I'm not gonna make you a starter all the time. I'm not gonna make you a man all the time. The man all the time. It'll help you navigate because there's gonna be spaces where you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you get to college or you trying to go to a high level, you know there's certain phenoms and but more than likely you're gonna have to figure it out. And if you get lucky enough to be a pro like my daughter's gonna, she will, but she's gonna have to figure out a role.
Right.
You know what I mean? Her 20 points a game might be over with. You see what I'm saying? So
you know, all they talk about nowadays is mental health. Mental health,
yeah,
mental health, that. So, you know, you like I said, around that time, you probably like 17, 18.
Yeah.
Coming from starting, you know, how did that affect you, you know?
That's what I'm saying. It took away from me kind of loving the play. Because, I mean, I love basketball. That's all I did. You know what I mean? So, when the situation didn't go like I thought it should go, being a kid, not having sometimes you need somebody to be like, man, you need to suck that shit up, boy. You need to, and I'm not saying I didn't have it, but it wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can kind of like, at the time, like, man.
So that was for 2 years? Or was that just the first?
That was 1 year.
Okay.
Then I just went ahead and transferred back.
Okay. Your senior year.
Yeah.
So how did the senior year go?
I didn't play.
What happened?
That's what I said. It kind of like, I was kind of done with it. Yeah, I was kind of done with it. So.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you fall back in love with it? Because, you know, you started coaching, you're doing great things. You know,
I mean, I always, like I said, you never know where, you know, that it's going to take you, where God going to take you. So I probably shouldn't have been a starter. You know what I mean? I probably shouldn't have been gone far playing because it put me in a place where I should have been, which was coaching, leading young other people, and steering my kids the right way. So like I said, you asked like you should have been a starter. Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Looking at it, he probably was better, or it worked out like it was supposed to.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the love, I guess, came. I don't know if it ever really left. You're a kid, so
Right.
you.
His feelings hurt.
I ain't gonna say that, but I'm saying once you start doing other things, then you can get away from actually playing. Get a job,
Mm-hmm.
getting some money, get a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Now you're not going to the NBA no more. Those are dreams you had to keep you going. So
Right.
now you're trying to figure out life. So at that point, it was like,
Right. So that's 18, 19.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was the next move? Since you kind of lost a love, what was the next move following high school?
I mean, so work, school, and community college, things like that. Didn't put. Well, I did. I still played though. You know what I mean. After a few years or so, still, played pickup men's league. Still played, but then had my daughter early, and then I got into high school coaching.
Okay.
So I had her at 20.
Okay.
So that turned into a dad then.
And what was the first year coaching? High school.
I can't remember exactly. Maybe what year was that? I'm bad with time.
Well, how old was you? What do you think?
Probably 23.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when I, like I said, I was coaching rec ball, but then I got the high school girls JV job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where were you at rec ball?
So at my father's league.
Okay.
In Old Court, in Ramsden.
Okay. And then what was that high school?
Milford.
Okay. How did that go? The first
That
season?
Milford was great. For many reasons, like I said, first time I met Coach Johnson, who's been, we still great friends. He's somebody that has done many things for my kids and the team, and for nothing though, like I always talk to a couple of my friends, we say like our coaches back in the day, they ain't do it for nothing but the love. Like they was coming to pick us up, feeding. It wasn't about like,
right.
It wasn't they trying to get a mooch off this kid or that kid, or let me grab this kid because I think he gonna make it somewhere. It wasn't none of that, and it ain't a lot today that still do that. And he's always been one. Yeah, he's always been one. So I say it's been great. One, it taught me a lot as far as coaching because, like I said, I didn't have the most talented girls, so it really sharpened me coaching. I really had to be strategic. Really had to figure out a press break. I really had to figure out. It's easy when you have an individual that can break a press without the handle the ball, IQ's high. Had to teach all of that. So, which was fun though. I had energy. I was young. Like it was his first, like I said, real coaching job, paid coaching job. So yeah, and then like I said, a lot of end up winning the JV championship, went undefeated, did it for 2 years, and then Turk, my youngest son, well, my daughter was kind of getting into playing, and then Turk started playing, so it kind of transitioned me to that way.
Okay, so first year with the new girls.
So first year, lost in the championship.
Mm.
Second year, went undefeated.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And then assistant on varsity, so I won 2 state championships. Then really, I coached about Deanna White, who's like a great in this area, went to Georgetown. Q Murray went to Towson, so I was able to coach some. Now, on the varsity, they were high-level girls. So I was able to do skill work with some of the high-level girls. So some big-time D1s and big-time players. I think Deanna might have been player of the year here.
Okay.
All Metro player of the year at one time. She's probably one of the best girls I ever seen play. So.
Okay. Following that, you said 2 years. Then what was your next coaching stint?
So like I said, after that, I originally wasn't the coach for Thrill. Big O was.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happened was O was the coach, and I'll give a lot of credit to O because he when he started, we started with our kids in the first grade, so they were like 6 or 7. Turk, Omar, little Cam, all of the kids that just graduated high school this year.
Right.
Started with them when they were like 6 or 7. And at the same time, O kind of got the city job. So, that's his baby for sure. And he kind of was like, yo, I need to focus on this. Why don't you just take them and I'll be your assistant? Even though his son was on the team. And I know he wanted to do both, but, it was big of him to just be like, you better for it just because of the time. And that's how I end up coaching.
Okay.
But me and Mookie already had a relationship. He was, at that time, though, when I took over, it wasn't even Thrill. We were Be More Finest. So Mark Karcher was running the program. Mookie was over the grassroots. So that's kind of how that started.
Okay. So like you said, those guys, that team, they got a bunch of guys on that way.
Yeah, we got. I mean, even kids that's not like really talked about. Like we got a kid, Kamori Collins. They used to call him Cheat Code. He the all-time leading scorer at Curling, all time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those kids. He was, to me, probably like the most talented kid I had. He I could see him being one of those kids where you say, you see how like I forget the dude from the Miami Heat who went D3 but ended up making it to the league. Like he wanted, to me, like if he keeps going, like he's a D1 talent. He just committed to Goucher, but it won't surprise me if he end up somewhere big because he's that good. So, but yeah, Jeff Exenor, he's playing football at Virginia Tech. Little O's D1. Gavin Johnson, another kid, he's playing at Dominican University at D2. Who else? I mean, I coached a lot. Chase Foster, had him for a stint. He's at Pitt. I'm missing some kids. Oh, Trent. Trent's at Siena.
Right.
Like I said, my son's at Florida Gulf Coast. See, Lil Cam, he had a lot of injuries in high school, but he's another one that if he keeps going, if he doesn't get hurt, he's the best point guard in this, to me. But of course, I'm biased, but to me, he's the best point guard in the Catholic League if he stays healthy.
Okay. Okay. Are you still with Thrill?
Nah. So COVID was it's crazy. COVID was the last time I coached him. So, at this time we were really like rocking and rolling. Like we were kind of one of the teams that culture that they have right now was one of those teams that. So you had Mookie had a team with like Ahmad and them. Nell was coaching. Nell coached them first, and then Woody had like a Fat Man and them, that group, my group, and then Naughty probably had the most talented group with like Derek and a bunch of other kids that he put together like a super mob. But yeah, so that's kind of how it really started going. So, but COVID was the last time, and like I said, by that time, it was like we kind of got, and it started when we were younger. Like I tell people this all the time. I tell young coaches this. Well, not young coaches, but people that's doing the AAU and stuff like that. Everybody looking for like the quick, like for it to be, they chasing the trophy, they chasing the next player. And my kids weren't kids like out the gate that everybody wanted. It was the kids that we had. I think little O was probably like the most gifted because he was big. He the way he shoot the three now, he was shooting in the second grade. Like I said, my son and Cam was little guards. We picked up Casey a little bit later, who was super talented. Jeff, who Coach Johnson worked with, over time became dominant over footwork. But our early years, first grade, second grade, third grade, we wasn't winning like that. People only remember when they really started getting good. But we spent a lot of time in the gym. It wasn't like a microwave thing. And we had I mean, the coaches I had, I mean, I was the head coach, but I had Omar, who won multiple state championships, certified, like a great head coach as my assistant. Shay Johnson played at Bowie. I mean, another head coach, and then Coach Johnson. I mean, I have 3 head coaches that didn't care that I was the head coach, but we understood each other. And I think the biggest thing too was I had great parents. So people always ask me like, "Would you coach again? Would you coach again?" And I'll be like, "I don't know," because I sit and look at how parents are now, and my parents aren't like that. Vic, Kenny, TC, Omar. I mean, even though he was on the staff, if O wasn't doing this or he wasn't doing that, I mean, I ain't have a bunch of, "Can I talk to you after the game" meetings. Like, so I had a perfect storm. I had great coaches, great parents. Then, Mookie did a good job running the program. So I don't know if that could come together like that again. So.
Mm-hmm. If everything's perfect.
It was, to me, it was. I mean, I had the best team. Mom, like, when you seen us, if you was around during that time, like, it looked like a machine. Like, it was together. It wasn't, I mean, I was just like the head of it, but I had a lot of people in the background, like, keeping it together.
So how you coaching now?
No. So COVID was the end of that, which it hurt. It hurt because, I mean, we were good. I mean, I remember being at a tournament. We were in North Carolina. We just won a tournament. We was going to a tournament in Alabama. So at the time, it was probably the biggest tournament, period, in the nation. Outside of nationals, it was called Battle Magic City Classic. I only know 2 teams in this. I'm talking about DC, Maryland, VA. I'm talking about this East Coast. I only know 2 teams that ever won the joint. It might have been, and it was us and my guy Jamal from the DC area. But we were headed. We were in North Carolina, headed the next week to Alabama, and that's when the whole COVID thing came. And that was my last time coaching. So it was, like I said, it hurt because those are my babies. But at the same time, my daughter getting highly recruited now. Well, no, she wasn't. She wasn't getting highly recruited, but it was when I really focused in on her, because it was it. My time from the team was gone. So, like I said, the blessing was that's when I really locked in, and I started getting her together, and that's how that happened.
When you hear the term dad ball,
Yeah.
what comes to mind?
Really being unfair or making a situation about your kid. So everything is catered to your kid. And there's no real teaching involved when it comes to. So basketball, to me, you got to be held accountable. So dad ball, accountability kind of goes out the window. But it's also tough when you are coaching your kid, because I think it's 2 ways you'll go. Either go dad ball or you'll go unfair.
Explain the unfair part.
So I coached Turk. A lot of times he came off the bench. Definitely one of our best players. I remember being in North Carolina, and my guy Marshall, I used to coach his son too. Marshall's a big helper. Coach his son Tyler. Tyler played with us too. I think he's in school in New York, but Tyler and Marshall were great. But we were in North Carolina, and Marshall said to me, "Yeah, you got to play Turk more." Like, he said it like, "Yeah, you got to keep him on the floor." And I was like, "Damn, okay." And that's because you trying to not do the dad ball thing so bad. Now you being extra hard, too hard, and unfair to yours. So I'm not gonna lie, I was excited to get away from coaching them, because I wanted him in a situation where it's just, he went out, he don't good, so yeah, it's tough though.
Was when he told you that, was that an uneasy feeling?
When Marshall told me to play him,
Yeah.
nah, it was just enlightening. Like, and I mean, I ain't stupid. I know the game. I'm like, damn, yeah, you right. Like,
so it took some pressure off. You think?
It does. You know what I mean? It did, and it wasn't more so caring about, and even with that, and most people will tell you that was around during that time, but you'll still have people that feel like I was playing dad ball. So, but I mean, the majority will tell you I wasn't. Like I said, he didn't even start a lot of times, but that was also by design too, because it allowed him to be able to, if it's in a situation where he got to come off the bench, he can still play.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't foreign to him.
Right. You won't break down.
Nah, I ain't breaking down.
Okay. You didn't get to coach your daughter, did you?
I did not. Did all her training, but I navigated the space as far as, who coached her and where. So with her, and like they're kind of totally different. She's a big guard, scoring guard. So I recognize like the two. Like you can't, everything's not the same. So with her, and she never played basketball here in Baltimore, because everybody I would take her to wanted to put her in the post. And I'm like, nah, she ain't no post. I'm like, that's not, going further on. Like, she's a two guard, but being tall, young, and I feel like it's a small issue here because we're an undersized town. So anybody with some size, a little bit of size, you going to the post, but that's not gonna help the kid in the long run. Just because he a big guard doesn't mean, he has to be a post. I had to play in front of one of the little guards, or at least get them some guard skills. And I feel like, I mean, nowadays, look at Derek or look at your bigs. They got guard skills. So like the post thing is kind of like null and void. But with her, I took her to DC, and she ended up playing with Lonnie Harrell, who was like 6'6", 6'7", who was a big guard. So Lonnie seen her, and of course, this is when she's young, so she can't really, it ain't what it is now, but he allowed her to make the mistakes. And that's all I needed. I needed somebody to allow her to be a guard while make mistakes, not tripping off of winning the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The dynamic between coaching your son or coaching your children, and kind of the dad ball, right? Let's go back into that a little bit. Do you think it makes it easier or more comfortable for the relationship, the communication? Some coaches are tough, some coaches are laid back.
So what do you mean well, let's talk about the relationship. What do you mean between me and the kid?
Right, between the parent and the coach. So you coaching your son. Coaching could be some tough games, some tough losses, some tough situations. Maybe you had to coach him, hard.
Yeah.
Do you think that is good for the relationship or not? Or let me ask you a question a little better than that. What percentage do you think it is, good or not good as far as the relationship?
So
50-50, 60-40, 20, 80.
I won't give a percentage, but I'll say, so I coached, my demeanor is calm, but I coached hard. And the demand was hard. So when you're coaching your kid, the difference is when you're coaching your kid and not another kid. So per se, another kid on my team who had a rough moment, and I'll give this advice to any dads that's coaching their kids. if you coach another kid on your team that had a rough moment, or you coach them hard, once they leave, it's over with. When you're coaching your kid, it ain't no leaving.
Right.
So we wake up in the morning, the next day we still talking about the same play. You know what I mean? So that hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not cool. It doesn't make them want to be around you all the time. You know what I mean? So, I wish I knew that, but it's just how I played out. But I'll say this, also made my kids tough too, though. Like, it ain't really nothing. Like, Turk ain't really like I mean, I seen him in all situations from being tough on them, but yeah, I wish I could do it a little bit differently, because it does hurt. It does hurt.
Okay. Coach, some of us have it, some of us don't. If you do, who would you say is your sensei? That coach that got you to the point, made you. Well, when you started, when you was loving the game at that one point.
Coaching wise,
playing or coaching, either one.
Coaching, definitely Coach Johnson.
Okay.
Coach Brian Johnson. Yeah, just because he was one that was like even. Like he was tough too, but he also could tell me like, no, let's not do that, or maybe chill out on that, or his thinking, because he's a little bit older than I am. He's much wiser, and I respected him so much. And not just him, Coach Shea. I think all of my assistant coaches were good for me, as far as me being able to coach. I didn't have to worry about, and people don't understand, like, they were so young, and I didn't realize it, but we ran it like a high level high school, somewhat college, because after I lean on you and take you out the game, I see guys coaching by themselves, and they lean on the kid and they take him out the game, then the kid just sitting over there riding. I would lean on somebody, take him out the game, and then Omar would be Omar would get him back together. So when I need him, he'd be already back together, because O be over there, getting them back together. So it was just like they allowed me and taught me like how to coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Coach Johnson.
Brian Johnson. Yeah.
Okay. We want to take the time. We're gonna look at camera B and tell Coach Johnson, how much we appreciate him and what he done for us.
Nah, I mean, I can't even really put it into words. He never wants anything, but I mean, I can at least say thank you. My kids, myself, our team, this interview, it doesn't happen without Coach Johnson, hands down. Like, and like I said, he doesn't want anything. And I don't know, words can't express, like, if he's not in my life, then all the stuff that people see played out, it doesn't happen.
All right. Shout out to Coach Johnson.
For sure.
Coach, if you could describe your coaching style in one word.
Strategic. But again, we didn't play, even though they were young grassroots going into middle school. When we going to a tournament, we wasn't hanging out. We were play the game. First of all, before the game, we dissecting the bracket. We knowing who the possible teams we about to play. Like, we breaking it down. Then we sitting in the gym, and we all got scouting papers. We watching every game. So the preparation was probably the best part. And then in-game adjustments I could make. But also, by the time we got really good, my kids' IQ was so good and adjustments were easy. So yeah, I would say strategic and then preparation.
Okay. That team that was assembled about I mean, if you could just say how many tournaments did they win? How many nationals?
Sheesh. I don't know. I started this is a true story. First we 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 stopped playing and we were only playing in the bigger tournaments at a certain point. Like if meaning like when the big dogs was coming out. So locally we kind of stopped playing because not because we felt like we were too good, but we felt like we would get more out of practice. So the way we looked at it was so we play in a local tournament, sometimes even playing up, and we don't get a good game until the championship or semifinals. We got blowouts and things like that. We like, all right, our best player in a blowout might get 10 shots, 40 shots in a weekend. So we said, you know what? Let's just practice for 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday. So you take how many shots and how much ball handling, how much conditioning we could do from not playing in tournaments we know we're gonna win, as opposed. So we played in less tournaments. We practiced more. We won a lot of big tournaments. We when A game first started, they were giving if you won it, which was a big tournament. I mean, it'd be tons of teams from everywhere. If you won it, you got new uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got to the point where we was like, we ain't ordering no uniforms. We just gonna win the A game, and that's how we was getting new uniforms. Yeah, so it got to a point where I was giving away the championship trophy. Like whoever I felt like played the best, that kid could have the trophy. Cause I ain't need no more. So we won a lot, man. We won a lot of big tournaments. We was always Coast to Coast was just coming out, so we was always ranked like top 5. There's a couple. It's crazy. The teams that we lost to, I was watching the draft. I know you watched the draft. So the teams that we lost to. We took 5 kids to Vegas, and we lost to Darren Peterson's team. In nationals, we lost to the Boozer brothers.
With 5?
Yeah, Vegas, we went to the chip with 5 and lost to Darren Peterson. Nationals, we lost to the Boozer brothers. I think 3rd grade, we lost to Kingston Fleming. Darius Acuff beat us in the 4th grade. So we were literally losing to, we ain't know, but like looking at it now, most of our losses were to those guys. So, and those guys they were good then.
Right.
Yeah, so like, but that's how, we had gotten so good, that's what it kind of took to beat us, like those kind of players.
Okay. What was the fundamental of, that program at the time and the culture of that team?
The whole culture, Thrill, even today though, when I see it, Thrill's culture is great. Like I said, Mookie, who runs the program, but like people like Janelle, who probably don't get a lot of love, like Janelle, Donald, like they kind of Woody, like they kind of help, and Nardi too. They that culture is like my son's played in a few AAU programs, and Thrill's like one of the best coaches. So I kind of just when I took over the team, the culture was there. You know what I mean? We just upheld our end as far as being good, but the culture was there. When they seen Thrill, you was getting tough kids. Like it was gonna be a beef. So and that's how it is. So it wasn't. I just upheld it, but that culture was there. Janelle and Mookie and them, they already had that built.
Okay. What would you say is the biggest misconception of coaching?
That you're gonna get it right all the time. There's many times where and you dealing with people with the thing with parents is, and I get it because I'm a parent too, and it's really, not in a bad way, but you care about your kid. So, there's many times where, this kid could have played more, or you're doing it to win at the time, but you don't get it all right. You got to do it on the spot too. So even good coaches, like my man from in the championship, he just had some brain farts. But like you get that far, and you feel like the misconception is and you're gonna do it right every single time. You're not. Right. So you need some grace, and I say my parents did that too. And I'm not saying everybody was happy, and you could have your rumblings, but as a parent, but it didn't get back to me. It didn't come to me in the forms of a meeting or in forms of I'm quitting the team or things like that. So, every situation wasn't great. I'm sure there's tons of situations, even with like mine. I feel like my son, once I stopped coaching him, he had really good coaches, but I wasn't happy all the time. You know what I mean? You're going to have some rumblings, but you got to know how to conduct yourself in the sense of not bashing that coach, not going around to other parents trying to get them on the bandwagon. Parents do that all the time. You deal with you deal with the little bit of issues you have, but you got to look at the big picture, and then you let it go. But yeah,
your parents wasn't gave you no problem. Y'all was winning.
Yeah, but only 5 people could be on the court at one time.
Okay, so it was about time, mainly.
I didn't have problems, but I'm just saying I can't sit here and say every single person was happy-go-lucky.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That's naive.
Okay.
But the majority, and the reason I know that is because I didn't lose a lot of kids. I didn't have a lot of turnover. I didn't have kids quitting, and I had this, and that's what people don't understand about coaching and having a team. What's the word I'm looking for? Continuity and togetherness will beat talent. So because we were so glued as a team, we beat a lot of teams that was way more talented. And so that's why when I look at these coaches, I ain't gonna say these coaches, but when I look at some of the teams now and I see people just chasing talent, it's okay to just take what you have and work with them, but build that chemistry, because chemistry will win. Chemistry will beat talent. I've seen it to an extent, but I seen it because that's what we did. We had the same kids, and our kids from the same area. We picked them out. They had a rec league at Chickweb. Coach Gerald was like coaching and reffing at the same time. They was like 6 years old, and that's where all our kids came from.
Okay. So, the most grumbles that you'd say you probably get from the parents would be about playing time? So, have you ever been in a situation where you was losing?
I mean, we've lost, but that joint was far and few between. I mean, and if we lost, they was better.
Okay.
Yeah, like it was like, damn, yeah, they was good.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really wasn't. I mean, you ain't gonna go undefeated. Like I said, those kids, those kids that got drafted are literally like some of the teams we lost to. Like CP3 had a really good team, always gave us problems, but we didn't lose in the area to nobody, even playing up. Like no area team, well, no Baltimore team for sure. And then as we got older, Takeover was, of course, our competitions and the Durants. We were at that time, 6th, 7th grade. We were beating them too. So. Yeah.
So that was about 10 years or more, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like it got to a point where it was easy for me to coach them, but even today when you watch them play, when you watch Trent play, when you watch Cam play, they unselfish. They get off the ball. They play the right way. So that was like one of we taught fundamentals and playing the right way. So.
What did you learn from your playing days that you still use today?
I mean, one thing like I said, I learned, I think, when I went to Southern was politics, and how it does matter. So, I just used more so I used it for my kids and just trying to put them in a situation where it was less of that. It always you can't get around it, but um, it made me aware that it was a thing. So it's not always about exactly who's more talented, who's better. The politics come into play, but um, really they kind of, for the most part, we navigated through it to the point where we really didn't have to deal with it. And I put them in a lot of situations where it was tough and it was competition, and they would have to win out. But if they won out, they won out. Yeah, so.
So your son went undefeated his last.
So, high school.
Yes, sir.
They didn't go. So they won his junior year. They finished top 10 in the country, won a WCAC, lost in the States. Now he never lost at home. He's been at Paula VI. He's been undefeated.
Yeah, at home.
At home, yeah. And I think they lost 3 games this last year. They finished top 10. They won the state, the WCAC. So, yeah, he's got a serious high school resume. Yeah.
All Met.
Yeah, all Met. First team Virginia All State. Yeah, so they're I know some Baltimore guys have played in the WCAC and done well. Like Daquan Davis. He I think he won a WCAC championship, first team WCAC. And some other guys have come and then came back. I know Josh Shelby, I think he went to DeMatha, came back. A couple other guys, but yeah, my son won 2 of them joints. And then first team WCAC, so yeah.
That's right. Talk, Dad. That's what you talking about, man. Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
How did you earn the trust of your players?
I was fair, man. Practice mattered. You don't even think about starting if you can't come to practice. Again, and I'm around it some because I got a 9-year-old. So I'm around it, or I was around it some because I put him in it for a little bit, then I took him out. Just didn't like how it was going down. And one of the things that bothered me when he was on a particular team was the team had just started. And he actually was the first player per se on that team before the team kind of got together. And even though he was the first player, then 2, then 3, then the team formed, I ain't play about practice. So regardless, if it was 1 person there or 4 people there, he was gonna make practice. And once the team actually formed, and some other talented kids, would show or come or was on the team, but they didn't come to practice, and then they were playing more in the games, I was like, that's not how you do that. Because 1, you don't teach the kid anything. And then what you do is you water down your own product. You don't let them know the importance, because also with me, you couldn't miss practice because you're missing teaching. So if you're taking per se a trade and you miss you're an electrician and you miss 3 days of class, and then you come to work, then we putting in ceiling fans, but you miss that, you can't do that. So my thing was, if kids can miss practice and then show up to the game and fit in, it's not enough teaching going on. So with me, practice meant everything because it's nonstop teaching. So they knew that if you came to practice and then you worked harder and you were better, then that's when playing time came into play. You couldn't just show up to a game and think you were going to play because you were more talented. So that, said, what, and it didn't matter who, my best player was the hardest working player. So, and my best player is going to get leaned on just like anybody else. So That's gonna give you the trust of the players.
Do you put the onus for the practice on the parent or the kid? Being as though
That's not my problem.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, you know, that's a commitment ultimately that the parent made, but they made. So, of course, it's not the kid's fault. We in the fourth, fifth, sixth grade, but I can't sit the parent out the game. I mean, you know what I mean? I can't. That's the only thing. So, again, with my youngest son, uh, team he was on, the coach said to me, "Well, they coming from this area. That's an hour away." That's what they decided to do. You know what I mean? Like that's the parent deciding that. So if you decide to be on this team, that's your commitment. So yeah, that I mean, ultimately it's on the parent, but the parent has to understand that the kid may suffer from that. In my situation, it ain't like that right now, or in all situations, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I might be going through a situation similar to what you're talking about. Oh man. What makes a player coachable for Coach Lawrence?
Body language, body language, and every kid is different too. Um, with my kids, man, I learned to love and learn to know who was who. Um, my son had bad body language for a long time. Uh, Cam, bad body. Omar, little O, had bad body language for a long time. So it was something I held them accountable for, but we worked on it. You know what I mean? In those moments where it's like, it's not those intense moments, but I could say, look, these are things you need to say. And these will prepare you for college because, they'll all tell you the way these D1 coaches talk to you is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So if you ain't really got it in you to be stone faced and be like, got you, because you know what you got to get out of it. But yeah, body language and you have to do what's told. There would be certain games where we would have, and like I said, our big guy Jeff, who's a good big time football player now, at times he was dominant, and we would call timeouts and say, look, if Jeff don't touch the ball every time down, somebody coming out. So that part, allowed them to say, okay, nah, that's the game plan. That's how our coach think we're gonna win today. All right, that's what we're gonna do, and that's being coachable, not really trying to have your own agenda. Because one thing our kids ended up understanding is winning was more than their own agenda. So, and they got that early. None of them really tripped about points. They were just trying to win, and all of them to this day are winners.
Okay. Coach, can you define some of your wins and losses outside of basketball?
Yeah, I mean, outside of basketball. Well, I'll say this. It has to do with basketball, but it's still outside of basketball. Basketball allowed me to meet some great people, which allowed me to do different things not pertaining to basketball. So, and I met a lot of people from basketball that I didn't even know or I looked up to from afar. That, like Dante Bright. I was a kid watching Dante. I wasn't from East Baltimore. I didn't know Dante. I didn't go to Dunbar games, but watching him at UMass and things like that. And then when I got into coaching, he admired how I coached. For somebody like that to, admire somebody that I wasn't a top player or nothing like that, but us have a relationship, I think that's a win. And I can name a ton of people. I mean, Keith Stevens at TakeOver, Wayne Pratt, Kevin Durant's dad, like all these dudes from basketball that I have real relationships with now, I mean, I think that's a win. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Um, what do you think is the heart of a champion?
I mean, regardless, it doesn't, when it pertains to basketball or not, I mean, just giving it your all. So you don't necessarily have to win that game per se, or even like I said, outside of basketball. Um, a lot of times the difference is just quitting or not quitting. You know what I mean? That's just the difference. So, heart of a champion just gonna keep on.
Right.
Just gonna keep pushing. So,
Okay. What's one of your go-to messages, coach? That message, that you give in a huddle that all of the players know.
we're gonna pray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, message from game to game can be different depending on who you playing. But if you look back at some of our old pictures, you always see before the game, we gonna all touch each other. We gonna pray every time. So, and nothing you can't get through without God. So that's the main thing. When I text my kids, it'll say whatever. Make sure you pray. Yeah. So.
Amen. Tell us about a game that you wish you could have back.
Uh, a game I wish I could have back. I don't know, man. Some of them games I lost, I don't know if I could have done anything different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Game I wish I could have back. And my coaching, like I said, with the Thrill, so far back. Like I said, some of those games, man. I mean, of course, I wish I could have beat the Boozer Brothers in nationals and things like that. I remember we playing the Boozer Brothers. Like I said, coaching staff great, Coach Johnson. Like, if I ain't getting it, he got try this, try that. At halftime, he was like, I think we're in trouble. Which I ain't never heard him say nothing crazy like that. And I'm like, damn, why you say that? And he was like, well, the big ones can stay in front of the little ones. And I was like, damn, yeah. So, those games, some of those big time games where we played those big time players, wish I could have back, but I don't know if it'd have been different.
Okay.
Yeah, real tough.
So the Boozer Brothers were standing in front of the guards?
Yeah, the big one though. So
Okay.
like the big one was like they were switching on ball screens and he playing Turk and Cam. They quick, they little. He at the time probably 6'4". And I'm like, yeah, they can't even get around him. That shit's rough right there.
Yeah, gonna be a long night. Long night. Okay. Okay. How has coaching changed your life, Coach?
Oh man.
No. I mean, not change your life. How has coaching changed you as a person?
I mean, it definitely allowed me to, see other people's dreams, see other kids' admirations, and then also, it also allowed me to be like have empathy because kids can give it their all, fail, they be hurt, So just seeing that and and it helped me, build relationships with a lot of those kids. So, which I still have today. Yeah.
Okay. Coach, they say living vicariously through your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you, because, the way how I've always heard of the term is mainly a negative thing.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think that is?
I mean, I really don't know what that means because I think you hear that when you see like a parent like push their kids, I guess. So I don't know. I never felt like, yeah, I don't really know what that. I don't really know what that means because I never wanted to live through them. As far as my kids, I just wanted the best for them, and it doesn't mean like the NBA, but graduating from college, meeting people, different experiences. I mean, my daughter went to Louisville, lived in Kentucky, went to Arizona State, lived in Arizona for 2 years, um, lived in Michigan, played, was in the WNBA. Like, her experiences far exceed mine. So that's all I ever wanted. I just want them to experience, I mean, the things that my son have done, through basketball, but it was ultimately because I pushed him. So the people that he knows, he's in Florida living, and, the things that they are able to obtain is far past what I've ever done. And that's really all I wanted. So it's just like, I don't really know. I wasn't, living through them. I just wanted them to be better than me.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Coach.
No, I appreciate that.
Coach, what was your most important comeback?
You talking basketball?
Yes, sir. Or if you had one, that's a little better.
Yeah. Most important comeback. Okay. I was telling you about the situation where Marshall, my guy, was telling me I needed to play Turk Moore in a certain tournament. And this was, like I said, this was right before COVID. So this is when we rocking and rolling at this point. This is when we like not used to losing and winning everything. Or we was in that North Carolina tournament, and you know how tournaments go: pool play, then bracket play. And this was the first time we lost all our pool play games. And the parents probably was tripping at that time because, like I said, this is when we were used to winning. Like, losing really wasn't a thing. North Carolina, we lost all our pool play games, ended up winning the whole thing, not losing another game. But part of it was that adjustment when he was telling me, you need to play your son a little bit more. But yeah, and but being able to get the kids back together, because like I said, it's one thing when you lose and then you get into this phase where like you dominant. So I would say that probably was one of my most important ones.
Okay. What was your proudest moment as a coach?
I mean, all those big tournaments, they were proud moments. So I can't say one particular. All right, I take that back. It's kind of happening now, because my kid, they're getting scholarships. So, like I said, they went through high school, and I stopped coaching them through COVID. But their foundation and base was us, and I see, like I said, I named probably 5 or 6 kids that are like full scholarship rides, D1 football, things like that. And of course, their parents too had major parts. But seeing them mature now and go to school and still playing, like, so that's happening now, per se.
Okay. Coach, we got this segment, Coach, called "I Would Do Anything."
Mm-hmm.
So in full it reads, "I would do anything to beat these SOBs." Right. So you got a lot of wins, a lot of tournaments, a lot of achievements, right?
Yeah.
But we also got this one team, right? This one team that I would do anything to beat these SOBs. You're gonna let us know. We're gonna point to the camera, and we're gonna let them SOBs know who they are.
So it's funny that you say that, because at the time it was Takeover, but my son ended up playing for Takeover his junior and senior year, so they're actually my guys. But at the time, Takeover was who we would do anything to beat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, point at the camera, let them know. I would do anything.
TTO, this is on the rewind. Today you my guys, but back then anything to beat y'all.
Yeah. Okay. When so I seen you had a little group of little guys.
Yeah, so that's my son. He kind of playing in like, what they would say, mom and pop.
Okay.
Nice. They've been around for a long time. Short Shots and my guy Courtney, and they just put some kids together. They actually played in like that one tournament I ended up coaching. Yeah, so it's not AAU ish, but my youngest son is getting in the mix, so I got to probably be back in the mix somehow, some way.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it's happening now.
Right.
And like I said, I tried some things, and I ain't gonna cry about it. Just gotta fix it, and if fixing it is I gotta go ahead and get in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I gotta do.
More than likely.
Yeah.
We know how it go, man. Coach, so in the next 5 years, when would you want to see yourself? So we kind of like starting to pick our head back. So what in the next 5 years, what we gonna see Coach Lawrence doing?
I don't know, man. I feel like I wouldn't mind doing the same thing I've done with the other two with my youngest son, following him around, watching him play, leading him to college. I mean, this is what I love, so I don't see me doing nothing different. Hopefully both my other two playing pro ball. So, I got to enjoy watching my daughter on TV, son on TV. So I just want the same for the youngest one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when it's all over, it's said and done, what would you want your legacy to be?
I mean, I guess somebody that helped kids get to where they wanted to be through basketball, and then definitely, my kids matter the most. So, where they see me and know, like, as a dad, coach, like, I made a lot of mistakes. Wasn't perfect. But the ultimate thing was to get them to where they are. And that's what I did. Yeah. And like I said, I wasn't perfect. They didn't like everything about it. But, they are in good spots. And so, just so they know, like, now that just was all love. It wasn't nothing but love.
Okay. I'm gonna try something new, Coach. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Give me your top 3 national coaches, your top 2 local coaches, and give me 1 slept-on coach.
All right. We talking high school, college, or just all?
Just give me your top 3 national.
So, Coach Glenn Farello gonna be 1 for me.
Okay. Glenn Farello, where Coach Glenn Farello from?
St. Paul the 6th. So
Okay.
my son high school.
Okay.
That's probably the best coach to me that I've personally been around. Hands down, Coach Johnson, the most slept-on coach. It's not even close.
Hold on. Give me your top national first. Give me 3 national. Give me the top 3 national.
3 national. So I'll say 3 national. And so these are people that I know and experience.
Okay.
Yeah, these aren't, because of course I can ramble off college coaches and things like that, but people that I know. So I'll just stick with high school. So I'll say Glenn Farello, Eric Singletary, coach at Sidwell Friends, and then it's a tough one here. Farello, Singletary, and Steve Turner. That's at Mount Vernon.
Okay. What about your 2 local coaches?
Local coaches. I think Mookie's definitely up there. Mookie, Darnell Dobbins. And I think Zito, he coaches Melo's 17 year. Yeah, he's a great coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zeno?
John Zito, yeah. He actually coached at John Curl, coached quickly and them at John Curl, but he's Melo's EYBL coach. So I know he's not actually from this area, but he coaches the Melo team from this area.
Okay. And you said you slept on coaches.
Yeah, Coach Johnson for sure.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the top that.
Because I mean, my man do everything, man. He strength and conditioning, like it doesn't. But yeah, hands down.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm about to get you out of here, Coach. Give me 1 second. Coach, on behalf of the Coach's Corner and the Crew Channel, I'd like to present you your flowers.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, we got a flower and a gold whistle for you, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that for sure, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
Keep doing your thing, man.
Appreciate it.
Let me get a good picture with you real quick. Yeah. Coach Lawrence. Alrighty. All right, Coach. Appreciate you.
And you doing your thing too, man.
Yeah.
Hope this go to the moon, baby.
Yes, sir. We'll get our Thrill family involved, man. I know that you from Memphis, the M-Town, you know, some of the guys that's over this way, we really kind of connected with Memphis because of the music, right? So we definitely gonna get into the music, but take us to, your time growing up in Memphis, man. What was it like?
I kind of feel like I got the best, of both worlds. Of course, we started off in the hood, but eventually my family did what they had to do. So, parents want to hurry up and move their kids to the suburbs, but we were the only blacks on our street, so it was kind of hard. It was kind of rough. Not saying like just with self-esteem and identity issues and trying to figure into being with a predominant white population that you didn't even know existed at such a young age, but I guess it's worth it with the education. I ended up going to Bartlett High School. I played in high school basketball. We went to college. I did not play college basketball. I played a little intramurals though. We won championships with that too, so I'm not new to winning. And then I got an internship and I started traveling. And I was like, oh, I can do this. People live real different. It's a real culture shock to finally leave Memphis or even moving to D.C. and knowing that black people speak Spanish. So it's a big culture shock. So I came here to actually party. Started partying and just was like, yeah, I'm living here. Black people doing their thing up here. So I just stayed and started from there.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we really love Memphis for the music. So, let's go back again.
Okay.
I'm going to go because one of my favorite artists is Project Pat, right? So Pat say North Memphis, West,
South Memphis, Westwood, Orange Mountain.
Mile. So where you from in Memphis?
I'm from North Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
A community called Douglas.
North?
No.
And just so you know, this is how you throw up North Memphis.
Okay, North Memphis. Okay. See, I'm running around for years saying North, and everybody know me for saying it, and I said for a few different reasons. But I definitely get it from Pat then all day. You feel me?
Yeah.
So okay, North Memphis. All right.
Hoes screaming, North, North. We be cracking niggas' jaws, running holes into walls. Niggas yelling, North, North. Hoes screaming, North, North. Killers cracking niggas' jaws, running holes into walls. Niggas yelling, North, North. Hoes screaming, North, North. On the north side of town, lurk the killers and the thugs. Those who never show no